Prisms is the hook. We really have to start engaging our kids in relevant learning and focus on preparing them for the future. And so that's been a big piece with Prisms that they've brought to the table. The kids love it. They're still learning the content, but it's no longer just a lesson presented by the teacher on the board. Now it's a whole different realm of engagement.
The generation of kids we have is just different than the generations we've had before, and our kids are digital natives. More hands-on learning, more authentic, real-world learning opportunities is what this Generation Z, and Alpha need. And the VR headsets seem to fit very well with their learning style, their learning preferences, and what we're hearing from students.
Integrating VR headsets with the curriculum that we already teach has just opened a whole new world to the students that goes beyond the traditional classroom. It allows the students to immerse themselves in the actual program, whatever it may be. If it's journeying through a cell, looking at macromolecules on a level that you can't do in the classroom, has just created such a growth within the ability to change the way that we look at how a regular classroom should be.
My favorite part about Prisms is probably being able to go at my own pace, so I'm able to go a little bit slower maybe if I need to take a little longer, or if I know the topic, I'm able to just go through it a lot quicker. By that, I'm able to improve myself, and my teacher is able to see what I need to improve on also.
I definitely feel like I'm staying involved in that aspect of being interactive with the Prism headsets. It keeps my brain working, and it keeps me being able to solve the equations and knowing what I'm doing.
It's more engaging when you're in a headset than just like listening to what the teacher is saying, because sometimes you can zone out and you are more zoned in when you have the headset. It's right in front of your face. You can see it perfectly. Kids are better with technology than they are with papers and just listening. Them being able to engage with the technology, it's helping them learn math, but still helping them learn with like their own lives and how we use technology today. I do like math, but I used to not like it as much. But I think especially with the math class that I'm in now with Algebra 1, you have more examples with the VR. Like you can see real life examples that show you like, okay, this could be something I could actually use to help me in real life.
It's been very rewarding to see the kids kind of get a click moment. So for photosynthesis, it's a very nebulous thing. You're trying to imagine this organelle inside of a chloroplast, inside of a leaf, inside of a plant. And it's not really something you can see, but a lot of them have been having positive feedback about it was really cool to actually be able to go inside of that organelle and be immersed in that and see the process taking place.
So the content inside of the Prisms directly relates to the Algebra 1 curriculum that we're specifically using it for. Each of the main topics covered on the Ohio State test have a matching unit in Prisms. So linear functions is a big content area for Algebra 1, and there's a linear functions unit, and then there's quadratic functions, and there's a unit for that, and there's exponentials, and there's a unit for that. So all of your main topic, main ideas that would be covered on the state test, there is something in Prisms that relates directly to an application problem of applying those different functions of the content.
When I'm in Prisms, I can get a deeper understanding because I can actually tear apart and look inside of what I'm learning. And Prisms also has this thing where like you can listen to this certain thing over and over again if you need to. I feel like when I'm sitting in class and listening to a lecture, I get like embarrassed to ask him to like go over that again. With Prisms, I can just re-listen as many times as I want. I can go and re-listen and relearn stuff that was covered that I thought was maybe going too fast for me. And it helps build that confidence in me. I can go into Prisms and not feel like I have to get all the questions right, and I don't feel as much pressure on me.
The problems we had to do today were quadratic formulas, and the main focus was urbanization, and so we just had to look in the graphs and figure out width, length, and calculate that in an equation. I just think it was generally easy to get a grasp of. It's a nice break from the usual, and so I have to say I quite like it.
In the headset, there is a person that talks to you, reads you the questions, shows you examples, and you can see different graphs and examples, and then you have your own graph that you build on, that you put things up in and try to build the green area. You have videos to watch that describe it, and a visual of what the city looked like before and after. If you make a mistake or get something wrong, it kind of makes a buzzing noise, and then it tells you that you can watch a hint, or you can re-listen to the video that gave you the instructions and re-watch how to do it so you can learn and do it better.
But I do think students take more risk knowing that there's no penalty, and I get to just talk to kids where they're at, which is really neat because I get to see what they've attempted to do in the VR of trying to answer the question, and I can see that through the software, and then I can see kind of where the discrepancy lie or where their misunderstanding is of the problem. So I can have those one-on-one conversations with them, and a lot of times it's so unique and different. I feel like I'm answering even more questions actually during a class period about the math than I would be not using the VR.
I was struggling with the concept of how photosynthesis and cellular respiration go through all the phases and how they work, but with Prisms, it helped me so much to better understand it. I think the aspect of VR that makes me understand it easier is that you get to interact with these things and actually see it happen. Obviously, you'll get to see it on a presentation or a slideshow or hear your teacher talk about it, but actually being able to interact with it, I think just activates a different part of your brain to really understand it.
It allows them to solidify those skills. So they're applying the skills in a different way. You can do labs, you can do activities, you can do collaborative learning, and this is just another way kids innovatively can experience and apply concepts they learn. I think our kids are asking for that. They want things that are about the real world. Students often say, I don't understand why I need this. I don't understand why this relates to my life. And the more we can relate it to their life and make it connect for them and make it authentic and real, they're going to be engaged. And we need kids to be more engaged because there's so many things that can distract them from their learning. So the more we can innovatively think how to engage them in real world is a piece that they really, really want.
It's also increased their ability to collaborate with each other, their team working skills, their critical thinking skills as they're going through some of the programs. When you put the headsets on, everyone's involved. Every student is excited to come to class, and they seem to show a large growth in the learning of whatever curriculum we're discussing at the time.
I like that it's more hands-on than like just typing into a computer and a calculator. You actually get to look around and do something, because it's like you're playing a video game, but at the same time you're doing math.
It's like a way to actually visualize it without spending money on other materials or having to clean stuff up. It's like your own little experiment.
I struggle to pay attention sometimes in class, specifically because I just don't find this topic interesting. But when you get hands-on with it, and when I can actually see, feel, and touch what I'm learning about, it makes a difference. To have something that keeps me and my fellow students constantly engaged is something that I think is worthwhile.
Technology just always moves forward, and if we don't embrace it and help students learn how to use it and engage with it, we're doing a disservice to our students. I think it's really important for us to use these technologies to try and drive student learning and interest, and I think the VR headsets have done a pretty effective job of that.
And I really feel like the story problems that we put on those chapter tests and the reviews that we start practicing the next couple of days have a better understanding by the kids because of using the VR. And they'll be like, hey, remember in the VR when we were finding the max, we were just finding that vertex at the top. This is just like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that. It's the piece that I like the most is that the kid that is not normally engaged really does get a chance to be fully engaged.
We have other teachers that are starting to ask about it, and I think that's because of students. Students are asking about it or talking about it in the hallways and other classes. So now we have other teachers coming to us and say, hey, does Prism support whatever their content is? We're really excited for Prisms to stay at Valley View High School and grow. We've seen so much just from what we already have and we've already exposed our students to that we're really looking forward to the future to bring Prisms into other areas, whether that's other contents or other classrooms with teachers, just because of the excitement that we've seen students, and they're finally seeing that relevance and that engagement in their curriculum.